There, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Everest from Paw Patrol. And we're going to be making what you see here, but I'm going to use some smaller blue beads this time. In the first shot I did some round pearl beads, and I drew on the pupils using a black Sharpie and a blue Sharpie. So that's an option for you as well. For this pattern you're going to need some light orange bands, yellow, turquoise, purple, white, one black, and two pinks. You're going to want a C-clip, some floss or a wire to thread beads on, unless you're using bands. We'll need a hook and a holding hook, your loom in the offset configuration, and if you have a charm you'd like to use around the collar, you can put that in as well. I'll show you how to go about that. So let's start by making our paws. And for the paws, you're going to be taking 3 white bands, placing them on the end of the hook, doing a twist to pull them on once, and doing another twist so that it comes around twice. This is going to go onto 2 white bands, and we pull this onto 3 pairs of purple bands. And we're going to need 4 paws, so let's make another 3 of these and we'll go a little bit faster. 3 white bands, wrapped on the hook once and twice, pulled onto double white bands, and onto 3 sets of double purple. And 3, and we need 2 more. We'll do those quickly here. One and 2. Hold on to 2 white. Got a loose one here. Let me give that an extra twist or 2. Or here, let me get a less stretchy one. That'll be better. And 3 sets of double purple. 1, 2, and 3. And our last paw. 3 whites, twist once and twice. Hold onto 2 white bands, and onto 3 sets of purple. So these paws and legs are all the same as each other. Making 4 of the same thing here. Now if you'd like, you can put these on a holding hook or you can leave them here. We're just going to set this to the side and come to our loom. Let's start at the top. We're going to take 2 turquoise bands and come from the top center to the top right. 2 turquoise from the top center to the top left, and we switch to yellow. Come down once on each row with double yellow bands. And we're going to switch to white and come down 3 times with double white bands on either side, starting at the second peg down. And in the middle we're going to come down 4 times with the double white bands, starting at the second peg. So this is going to end at the 6th peg down. From here we take 2 white bands and come from each 5th side peg to the center. So 2 on one side, 2 on the other. And the next part we're going to make kind of the chin here. Now if you're not really confident looming, what you can do is take 2 white bands and come down once from the 6th to the 7th. Otherwise, what we'd ideally like to do is leave out the kind of neck here and make it really smooth connection. To do that, we're going to go from the 6th center to the 6th side with double turquoise bands. Do the same for the other side. And we come down 4 times on either side with double turquoise bands, starting at that 6th peg down. In the middle, we're going to come down 5 times, double turquoise again. Start at that 6th peg down. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're actually going to take that last centerpiece off for a minute. And we want to come in from either side with double orange bands. So take 2 orange bands, and you're going to come down from where you ended the turquoise on the side to where we just took those last bands off. And this is the 3rd peg up from the bottom. We want our last 2 middle row bands to be sitting on top. So we're going to come in from the other side with double orange. And now we take those turquoise bands and we put them back over top of that. So the next thing for us to do is to get 2 orange bands, put them on the end of the hook, and slide your paw over, your arm over. And this will go on to your 6th peg down on the side. And we'll do this again for the next 3. So the next one goes onto 2 orange and onto the next side, and the last ones we're going to be putting a little lower, of course. So our bottom legs are each going to go onto those double orange, and then this will go onto your 10th peg down. So it's 3 up from the bottom of the loom. It's where you've got your other oranges placed already. And last side. Let's put an orange cat band on that center piece that we have at the bottom. So this is your 3rd peg up from the bottom of the loom. You're going to take a single orange, wrap it once, twice, 3 times. And we can place our holding bands across the body, all turquoise triangles. So we'll start just under the arms at the 7th peg down, bring it across, lift it up over the center. And repeat that underneath. And underneath that. So we're going to form 3 triangles there. Now the last one that we do, what we're going to do is let's place it on, and then you're going to stretch it right under the leg. So lift it up, stretch it under the leg. So that is our body is all set to go. For our face, we have a couple of pieces to add on. So let's do our holding bands first. And I'm gonna double them over this time. I want my face to be a little tighter because the first time around I had to do some extra hook work to tighten. So I'll just show you that a little more slowly. Take a single, stretch it, twist it, pull it back onto itself. And this will go across the 5th pegs down from each of the rows to create a triangle. We're gonna repeat this on the 2 sets above. Actually the next 3 sets. So over the 4th pegs down, and over the 3rd pegs down, and over the 2nd pegs down. Alright, we're ready to make some ears. For the ears, you're going to take a single white band, Put it on the end of your hook and twist it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Take a single white, twist it, double it over, pull it through the white band, and we're just, well, I'll show you the easier way. Put it back on. Now take pink band, put it on the end, wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and you're gonna separate those the white band you've got here so that the pink goes in the middle. So you're gonna lift the side over the pink. And this all goes onto a doubled over single white band. And you want to try to keep it in order as best you can. And we are going to be placing this onto the top side pegs. Side peg. So one for this side, and we're going to make one for the opposite side. Same thing. Single white band, wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So you're going to have about 5 loops. If you find that too tight, you can always do it a little looser. Take a single, double it over, slide it through, replace the end, wrap your pink on the end of the hook 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and slide one side of that white piece over, and then pull both of these or all of this onto a doubled over single white. This goes on the top on your other side. And try and keep the pink in the middle as best you can there. Alright, I'll tell you now, we are going to be adding this piece around the hat brim and the collar after the fact, as well as the tail and the backpack, so don't worry if you're not seeing that here. For now, we do need to add the eyes, the nose, and the side extension for the face. So we're almost ready to loop, but let's do the eyes next. If you're using bands, I would suggest probably a light blue. And if you're using bands, what you would do is wrap your bands 1, 2, 3 times, and 1, 2, 3 times on your hook. If you want to add definition, you can also take a black band or a white band and wrap it twice on either side. And then what you would do is pull all of this in order onto a white band. Now, as I said, I will be using beads, so I'm going to show you that method as well. If you have beads with a larger hole, you can stick them right onto your hook and transfer them onto a white. If your beads have a smaller hole, we can put a thin wire or piece of dental floss through them. Put the floss through a white band, and then bring it back over and back through the beads from the opposite direction. And then we sort of pinch it and pull it until it's right on the band. And this is going to go onto, I believe it's our 3rd peg down. Okay. And we want to get in between the eyes and separate that band so that one piece is coming under the 4th peg down. I still have one of these little eyes on. Okay, let's move that. Now for the nose, we're going to take a black band or a gray if you like, wrap it on the hook 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and you can pull this onto anything between 3 and 5 white bands. I'm going to use 5 because I like it nice and thick here. So I'm going to stretch them over to my fingers. I'm going to put it on the end of the hook. Keep it nice and tight, and slowly, carefully push the black bands over into the middle. And then I can put the other side of the white bands on. And we're going to put this all onto a single white band. You can double it over if you want it a little tighter. This goes across from 4th peg down to the 4th peg down on the opposite side. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is kind of going to be coming down under our next peg, but we're going to leave that just for the moment because we'll tend to that when we're looping. And for the little purple on the side of the face, we need some purple bands. We're going to make a chain on either side. Take a single, wrap it once or twice, and put it onto 3 sets of double purple bands. So we're going to make a little double chain here. 2 and 3. And you want to take the bands that are on your hook and place them onto the second peg down on the side. And what we're going to do is pull the chain down, and we're going to grab a little piece out of each of the links and place them on the corresponding pegs coming down. So the next one is going to go onto that 4th peg down, and then you can actually take your whole securing band there at the front and put that onto the 5th peg down. We'll do this for the other side. Single wrapped about 2 times onto 3 sets of double purple bands. Turn your loom around, transfer the bands from your hook onto the 2nd peg down, and we're going to stretch this all the way to that 5th peg down and grab a piece out of each chain. I'm just doing this in a different order this time, but we're going to make sure the bands all end up in the same places. Thought that would be easier, maybe not. There we go. So grab a piece out of each chain, make sure it's on, and that bottom piece is going to be sitting right on the 5th peg down. So we're ready to start looping up the body, and then we'll work on some of our features. Go to that 3rd peg up from the bottom of the loom in the middle. Reach under your orange cap band and scoop up the top turquoise that are there. We're going to loop forward another 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop when you get to the white. And you're bringing up 2 bands each time. Now we need to get under the cap band, get the next 2 orange, and they're coming from the left side, or the side closest to the camera here. We're going to pull those over carefully and reach inside to get the bottom 2 turquoise bands that are coming from right above. You can turn your loom or scoop your bands up to the side if it helps you to grab them. And we can loop right up to the arms. Push back the holding bands as you go. You don't want to pull those out because then you'll have a loose band and you won't have your body well connected. Reach through the arm and get the bottom 2 turquoise, bring them up towards the center to that 5th peg from the top in the center. Or is that the 6th one? That's the 6th one. Let's do this again on the opposite side. So go under that middle piece, get your last 2 orange bands, bring them sideways, and reach in for your bottom 2 turquoise, and loop forward, watching out for the holding bands the whole way. I'm actually going to reach this right under my arm this time. And let's go inside again and get the last 2 turquoise, bring them up to the center. And now this is the part, if you had used those extra 2 white bands here for a neck, you can loop those up because they would be sitting right here. And continue. Otherwise, what we're going to do is reach through the turquoise, find the next 2 bands, and bring them up to the left side carefully. And you want to really try to keep these in order. We also have a lot of tension here, so be careful. Okay, next 2, go up to the right. In all honesty, this is probably the hardest part of this, so once we get past here, it's not so bad. Reach in again, get the bottom 2 white, and bring them forward. Okay, let's loop up the sides. Just see. I think we did the center first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my hook under the nose here, or with my fingers, and sort of separate it so I can pull it onto the 5th peg down. So the kind of whiskery, nosy part is on top, and I've just brought the black piece under. And now I'm going to reach inside. This will keep it a little steadier. Gonna reach all the way inside and get the bottom 2 bands from the peg above and bring those forward. And we're gonna loop the center to the top of the loom. And just watch out for the eyes here. And on either side, we're gonna loop straight upwards. So you want this kind of row of bottom 2 bands going all the way up. You're gonna get the first 2 whites there and bring them forward. You can push your bands down a little if you need to. Next 2, bring them forward, and we'll go straight to the top here. Reach inside. We want the turquoise that are coming from the top center peg, and we're going to bring those back to where they came from. And we need to loop up the opposite side the exact same way. So go under that 5th peg down, get your bottom 2 whites, find the next bottom 2, and just go straight to the top. And we reach inside for the last turquoise and bring those to the center. Okay, grab a turquoise band. You can take 2 if you want. If you want it to be a little thicker or a little more secure, you're going to put it on your left hand. Take your hook and bring it through all of the bands on the top center peg. Catch that turquoise band and slide back through. And once it's at the top, you can put the other side on, back from your finger, and you bring one side over the other and over the end of the hook to create a slip knot. Now you can hold on to this, put it on a hook or on a C-clip, and we're going to start removing our Everest from the loom. We start at the top and at the sides and kind of work our way down and inwards. We have a little bit of tension here, especially towards the neck area, so please be careful there. Should start coming off a little more easily as you move downwards here too. Okay. Alright, so if you have beads or eyes you'd like to draw pupils on, you can do that at any point. What we're going to do here is press the eyes through, whether they're bands or beads. Turn around to the back, go under a couple of bands and grab your holding band, securing band. This goes onto a C-clip. I'm just going to leave it there like that for the moment. If you have any loose bands, you want to take care of those quickly. For the tail, let's do that next. We're going to take 2 purple bands at the top of our loom, come down from the top center to the top side, and come down for a total of 3 times double purple bands on each of those 2 rows. So on the center and on the side. Oh, hang on. We're going to do it just 2 times. That's right, I revised this because this is a nicer size. 2 bands from the 3rd peg to the 3rd peg on those 2 rows we're using. We're going to take another one, double it over, and bring it across the 2nd peg down on the side and the 2nd and 3rd pegs down on the center. We just need to cap it off and loop it up. So single purple band, go on the side, the 3rd peg down, and wrap it about 3 times. You're going to reach under that cap band, take the next 2 bands. Oh, there it goes. Let's try that again. 1, 2, I'll do it a little extra tight just in case. Okay. So reach in, you want to get the next 2 bands, and we're going to carefully scoop them around and over to the center row. And the next 2 bands are going to be going straight up. So reach under on the side, get the next 2, move them forward and forward again. And from the top side to the top center, bring the bottom 2 over. And we go down to the 3rd peg in the center, find your bottom 2 bands, and loop forward once and twice. we're gonna just put our hook through the top center peg and grab this all off. And now you can take a band, put it on your hook and slide all of those over. I'm gonna transfer the band from my hook onto my finger. Hook goes through a couple of bands at the back of the body, grabs those ones that were just on the hook. We're gonna pull that under, open them up, and put the tail through. Okay. All right, let's do, I'll just show you really quickly. If you want to put a charm, if you have a bead you'd like by the neck, all you're gonna do is tie it onto a piece of thread or dental floss or a bit of wire. Position it where you want it around the neck, and at the back you're just going to turn it around and tie it in a knot. So one thread will go over the other. It's a little hard to see, we've got white on white, but it would be like making an X and then bringing one forward, under, up, and through. So just the way you would make any other knot, and I would suggest knotting it at least 2 or 3 times. You can put on some clear nail polish to help it hold. Let's make our hat rim next. Now for that, we're going to take a single band, white band, wrap it twice on the hook, and we're going to place this onto 8 doubled over single white bands. We're going to make a chain of them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now this is going to take us just around the front of the head. This will take us from one side to the other. If you want this to go all the way around, you can make this double the length. And what you would do is go around to the back. And similar to what we're doing here, you would just put your hook through the opposite side, because it would be longer and really close, and you're just going to pull a single band through them. And that's all I'm gonna do here. Except that we're going to do this just a little differently. By which I mean, I'm going to take another hook. I'm going to go under a couple of bands just towards the back and one at the front. So this is the side we're looking at. And then I'm going to pull my chain through. And this way it's a little bit snugger to the face. Now I want to do the same for the other side, so I'm gonna turn it to the other side, go through a couple of pieces towards the side of the head. So this is the head on the other side, and now I'm gonna reach my chain around and grab 1 or 2 pieces out of where we started and pull those through. And what we can do is actually just put another white band on if we want it to be a little bit looser. So this is good, but if you want a little more play, you can put a single white through, put the other end on, create a slip knot, and secure that on your C-clip. So let's put this on the C-clip. We're going to do something very similar for the collar. So we have 2 more parts to make. One is the collar for the neck, and the other is our little backpack, which of course is optional. For the backpack, we'll do that next. We'll do the collar next. For the collar, we're going to do the same thing. So single white, wrap it twice, and we're going to pull it onto, didn't write it down, I think it was also about 8 doubled over singles. And that can always be adjusted if you want it to be a little looser, a little tighter, a little longer, or shorter. So let's start with 8 and see how that goes. This is 3 doubled over singles, 4, 5, 6, 7, and let's do one more and then see if that fits. 8. Okay, so this reaches around the neck, and we're just gonna go through where that chain started, grab those 2 bands, and we're gonna pull them under the other ones we have on the hook. Again, if you want a little looser, you can add more to the chain, or you can take a single and slide it through all of that. And I'm just going to pull another band through it so it doesn't slide, and we can put this onto a C-clip. You can always tuck in your C-clip into under a nearby band if you want it to hold a little steadier here. There we go. Okay, pop your nose up, pop your eyes through, adjust your ears, and let's make our backpack. So back to the loom one more time. This is almost the same thing as our tail. 2 turquoise, top center to the top side, and come down twice on each of those 2 rows. We're really going to do quite the same thing here. 2 bands from the 3rd peg down on the center to the 3rd peg down on the side, and I'm going to take a single. I'm not going to double it over. I'm just going to bring it across the 2nd peg on the side and the 2nd and 3rd pegs down on the center. We want a cap band on the 3rd peg down on the side. Loop it 2 or 3 times. And we're going to loop this up just like the other, so under that holding band. So it's such a funny angle I'm doing this from. And get those 2 bands that come from the side and bring them back over to the side. Loop up the side, so go under that bottom holding band again and come forward twice. And to the center. And 3rd peg down in the center, loop upwards 3 times. I'm going to put this all on my hook and pull this carefully off. Take a single, pull it through all of those bands, put the other end on, one end over the other. And what you can do is stretch this out and bring it right over the head. Loop it once or twice, tuck it under the collar, so it's literally just been pulled over the head. And what we're going to do is try to find the first band, that holding band, and what we would ideally like to do is stretch it out and pull the tail right through it. And this does 2 things. It secures the tail, it secures the backpack, but it also secures the tail a little bit better. It helps it to sit more firmly. If you're having a hard time with this, as you can see I kind of am, you can always just go under a nearby band. This is the alternative, and grab a band from the backpack and pull it under like so, and then put it on a C-clip, and that will hold it in place as well. Okay, so I think that's all done. You can pose them a little bit, and yeah, please be sure to check out some of my other Paw Patrol tutorials. Most of the crew are up already, and I'll add this to the playlist. And I thank you for watching.